Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to be speaking about a lethal admission by Ammar Nakshawani in regards to one of the main narrators in Shi'ism, perhaps the main narrator from Ja'far al-Sadiq. His name is Zurara bin A'yan, and he was cursed by Ja'far al-Sadiq himself. But Shi'as still take narrations from him. Interestingly, in the video that you're about to watch, Ammar Nakshawani admits that this major Shi'i narrator was indeed cursed by the Imams. So why would someone take narrations from a cursed individual?
You asked me excellent question.
Before starting off this video, I'd like to point out that this video by Ammar is actually a reaction to a viral short by Adnan Rashid.
There are people who narrate from him. Four main sources in chains. Abu Basir, Hisham bin Hakam, Hisham bin Salim, Zurara ibn Ayyan. All four of them were compulsive liars. According to the Shia sources. You're laughing, but it's not funny. These four people, if you take them out, the entire house collapses.
There's a new headline on the front pages. What's the new headline? That the Shia, they originate from four Kufan liars. Who are they? Zurara bin A'yan, Abu Basir, Hisham ibn al-Hakam, and Hisham bin Salim al-Jawaliqi.
I'd like to point out the correct pronunciation of the name of Zurara's father is A'yan and not A'yun. Anyhow, let's carry on.
But also, when they say Imam al-Sadiq's companions, they are liars. You say, what do you mean? Say, look at this hadith. They bring the hadith out. The hadith, what does it say? No one innovated in religion or in Islam like Zurara. May Allah curse him. Now, if Imam does la'na on someone, that person's in trouble. Would you agree? If Imam does la'na on someone, today when Imam does la'na on Umar bin Sa'ad, we hate him. When Imam does la'na on Shimr bin al-Jawshan, we hate them. How about Zurara? I see this hadith. But when you bring this hadith, and you say Imam cursed Zurara, and true, Zurara has many ahadith, but Imam al-Sadiq curses him.
So I'd just like to point out that Ammar is affirming that Zurara is indeed cursed by the Imams. It's not just like a Sunni claim. It's a Shi'i claim, and Ammar himself, the most popular English Shi'i speaker, is affirming this. He's not disputing it. But now he's going to give you a reason as to why that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the Imam cursed Zurara. Zurara is still trustworthy according to Ammar. Let's check out the reason why together.
Imam al-Sadiq talks to Abdullah, the son of Zurara. Imam tells Abdullah, the son of Zurara, I have cursed your father because they want to kill your father. When I curse him, it keeps the haters of your father away from him. Because when they see me cursing him, because they will think that he's not near us and he's not beloved to us. But in my cursing him, they will not kill him.
Okay, so let's break this down. One of the top Shi'i narrators of all time, if not the top Shi'i narrator from Ja'far al-Sadiq, who is the most important Imam in terms of Shi'i fiqh, the most quoted Shi'i Imam, is now cursing his student, which makes him naturally unreliable. But Ammar uses this report in which Ja'far says to the son of Zurara, I only cursed your father to save his life so that they wouldn't kill him, referring to the government. Now, there are multiple issues with this theory. The first is that Zurara is having his reputation destroyed by Ja'far al-Sadiq. And it's not like Ja'far al-Sadiq is saying this to one or two people. Ja'far wants this to be something that's well known, that's established, so that the caliph at the time wouldn't assume that Zurara is someone that's close to him. So this sort of cursing became common. Zurara's son is now like curious, what the hell is going on? Why is my father being cursed? This thing even spread to Sunni circles. Sunnis in their books have a narration that says that Zurara is from the hellfire, and this is being said by Ja'far al-Sadiq. So it's not like this limited statement that only a couple of people heard of. No, it's something that's become widespread, and it has to become widespread because this is the Imam's attempt to save Zurara's life and to protect him, allegedly, based on this really strange theory. So the problem with this theory is that when the Imam curses Zurara, he's disparaging his main source of information that people would naturally go to in Iraq. Zurara's in Iraq. People in Iraq, they're not going all the way down to Medina in order to seek knowledge. They're going to the local scholar there. They're going to Zurara. However, when they become aware that the Imam curses Zurara, there goes the thousands of narrations that they believed in or that they are planning to apply when it comes to their fiqh or when it comes to their aqidah. They're now in doubt of the information that they hear from Zurara. And you see there's another issue with this excuse, which is that if this was true, if Ja'far was protecting his student, so he started to curse him, it has greater implications on Shia hadiths because you have other students that were also cursed by the Imams. And now we have to reject the clear, obvious critiques by the Imams and assume that the Imam was probably just protecting them. And I'm not just speaking theoretically, we find practical examples of late Shi'i scholars rejecting the direct criticisms of the Imams against these major Shia narrators. Oh, no, the Imam just said it as a form of taqiyya to protect him, in the same way he did to Zurara. You see how dangerous this excuse and this point of view and this theory is.
Everyone focus on this unbelievable piece of wisdom. He says, so you know what I did? I did what Khidr done to the boat. What a line. Imam al-Sadiq tells Abdullah bin Zurara, he says to him, oh Abdullah, when the hole was made in the boat by Khidr with Musa, Moses asked, why would you make a hole in the boat? What he didn't realize was what? Was the hole was big enough for the king to think it's not worth taking from those orphans. But it was small enough for the orphans to be able to repair it.
And by the way, let's ignore the fact that the ship wasn't for orphans and that Ammar is confusing this with another story in Surah Al-Kahf. But yes, Al-Khidr ruined the boat, but for the king and not for the poor people. What Ja'far al-Sadiq did is he didn't ruin Zurara for the king or for the caliph or for Bani Abbas alone. What Ja'far al-Sadiq did is he ruined Zurara for everyone. For all the Sunnis around the world, the 90% of the Ummah are now not just in doubt of Zurara, but they're using these quotes about Zurara to say, look, we can't accept this guy. He's cursed by Ja'far al-Sadiq himself. See how dangerous this is? So the analogy that Ammar provides is a terrible one. But let's end this video with the outcome of this cursing. What did Zurara benefit from the cursing that he received from Ja'far al-Sadiq? How did it save his life? By the way, that's if we're even assuming that his life was under threat, which Ammar hasn't established, and no Shi'i scholar that I'm aware of has ever established this. But yeah, how was Zurara's life saved?
Zurara, because of that cursing of Imam al-Sadiq, Zurara lived until after Imam al-Sadiq.
Boys and girls, what do you think? Zurara lived for 50 years after Ja'far al-Sadiq? 60 years?
Zurara died either 2 months after Imam al-Sadiq or 2 years after Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam.
He lived for 2 months? What sort of protection is this? He let the man die a shaheed with his reputation intact instead of ruining his reputation by cursing him. Now I'd like to end this video with a final thought, which is that this narrator, Zurara, who's one of the top Shi'i narrators, perhaps the main Shi'i narrator from Ja'far al-Sadiq, who, even according to Ammar Nakshawani, is cursed by the Imams. Who is he being exonerated by? You think about that? The person that's exonerating him by narrating this report is his son. So the question is, what are you going to believe? Are you going to believe Ja'far al-Sadiq, the 6th Shi'i Imam, who's infallible, who cursed Zurara? Or are you going to accept and believe the son of Zurara who's narrating this thing in order to exonerate his father? And remember the wider implications. Now, you can't trust anything that the Imam says, because whatever the Imam says about a narrator, you get to shrug it off as taqiyya. Maybe the Imam meant something else. Maybe he was protecting him. Maybe he was protecting himself. Maybe there's some sort of a hidden meaning in his clear-cut statements. That's the danger of believing in this one specific statement by the son of Zurara, which has had this massive effect on Shi'i hadith. And to the Shi'i students of knowledge, you see, you could have had a proper jarh and ta'dil system, because you guys had 250 years of infallible imams, and you have a lot of quotes in which they praise narrators and reject narrators and disparage them and curse them and promise them heaven and whatnot, right? But now you're discarding this stuff in favor of positions by At-Tusi and Najashi that never met Ja'far al-Sadiq or Zurara or anyone like that. They came 300 years later. You're going to take their clear-cut statements and you're going to reject the clear-cut statements of the Imams themselves. Why are you doing this? It's because you are following and accepting the scope that was concocted by the son of Zurara, who's trying to exonerate his father. So think about it, Ya Ammar, and think about it, Ya Shia. And to the rest of you guys, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let's say, if we say this hadith is authentic, that Imam al-Askari says our Shia are the ones who wear, for example, a ring on their right hand, which you're going to dedicate to me this evening, and of the 7,000 rings you're wearing. And they are the ones who pray 51 rak'ah. By the way, whenever I have a ring, people always end up asking me for it. So I think it's about time that I ask someone else to give me their rings. So tonight, he's going to give me one of the rings that shows his love for me.